So let's talk about soul food, and notice that's a question. Question mark. Because studies show that the diets of African Americans are comparable to standard Western diets in composition in terms of the amount of protein that African Americans eat, the amount of fat, and so on and so forth. But because of something called thrifty gene complexes, Western-style diets have been shown to cause higher levels of disease in African Americans and other racial and ethnic minorities. And what you see over here is a graph of what's called glucose intolerance, or what could be considered pre-diabetes, versus people living in West Africa.
Interesting.
And the West Africans are in yellow, and people living in the United States and Britain eating a typical Western-style diet in green. And West African diets are traditionally plant-based diets. They're low in fat. They contain very little meat and no dairy. You can see that people eating a West African-style diet have a very low incidence of both pre-diabetes and actual diabetes, whereas those eating the Western-style, typical American, British-style diet, it's off the charts. The diet makes a huge difference. So-called soul food is peculiar to the African American community. Soul food typically includes things like chitlins, oxtails, neck bones, pig's feet, and other high-fat, high-salt, and sugar-laden unhealthy foods. There's a recent study called the REGARDS study, which stands for Reasons for Geographic and Racial Differences in Stroke. This study was huge. It looked at over 30,000 participants, both black and white Americans aged 45 years and older. And what it showed was that most of the increased stroke risk seen in African Americans can be explained by differences in diet. The study showed that the so-called, what they call the Southern diet, and that's a diet that features heavy consumption of fried foods, organ meats, processed meats, full-fat milk, and sugar-sweetened drinks, while downplaying and fruits, salads, and whole grains, increased stroke risk by 63%. Calling it the Southern diet is just a polite, politically correct term for soul food, okay? And if I were to ask you guys, what is the leading cause of disability in African American males between the ages of 25 and 50, how many of you would say gun?
Diabetes. Diabetes, high blood sugar, stroke. What else? I'm just guessing right now. It's the first time I watched this video. I'm just guessing.
Shots. How many would say motor vehicle accidents? Do you know the leading cause of disability in young African American males is stroke from untreated hypertension? That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And again, like I tell my patients, you might think you're a ladies' man, but it's pretty hard to pull the ladies when you're dragging one half of your body and talking out the side of your mouth. Hey, baby, what you talking about? Nobody's interested, okay?
This Taylor Farm salad kit?
It's fucking delicious. So fucking delicious.
This study also showed that the plant-based diet, which included cruciferous vegetables, green leafy and other vegetables, fruits, beans, and whole grains, reduced stroke risk by 20%. So I want you guys to understand that what we call soul food is not soul food, it is actually plantation food.
Plantation
West
food.
Africans brought to America were forced to eat the literal garbage of the plantations on which they were enslaved.
I want y'all to think about that for a second. The foods that we continue to use in our culture, including the words and verbiage we use, we got it from slave culture, and we kept it with us. How could that actually be good for us? Because we were given the bottom of the bottom of the barrel. We're not giving top picks of anything, but yet we maintained Because as people, we're used to, we know how to take something that's bad and make it great. And we figured it out because that's the type of people we are. We're given bad situations and conditions, and we know how to make it the best out of it and come out on top. That's what makes us great as people, as a culture. But we still maintain very unhealthy habits. And when it comes to eating food, I'm gonna say this all the time. If you're eating something, it's supposed to give you energy and it's supposed to give you nourishment and make you feel good. It's not supposed to give you the itis. That means your body is not liking what's is being given. The itis is literally, if you look up the definition of like being poisoned with something that your body can fight off, it's literally the same response. But who am I?
Now, yes, they showed ingenuity and resolve and did their best to transform this refuse that they were made to eat into something that was acceptable. Unfortunately, after we were freed, we claimed what is essentially a dietary vestige of slavery and christened it soul food. These foods are not soul food. They are health-destroying plantation food, and we need to let it go because they are not our true heritage. The largest, most destructive epidemic of addiction in the United States is not caused by drugs and alcohol. It is due to our addiction to unhealthy food. The devastating impact of this national eating disorder is reflected in the spiraling rates of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, cancer, stroke, depression, and other chronic ailments. It is estimated that the number of Americans diagnosed with diabetes increased by over 80% in the last 10 years alone.
I just saw McDonald's, Burger King, and Krispy Kreme, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. We know goddamn well what we did with that. We know goddamn well what we did with that. You know, some hot sauce but think about it. You know, I saw a video with McDonald's where they put a McDonald's burger and a regular like real beef burger next to each other, and they gave it maybe a month or so and watched how it progressed. The McDonald's burger didn't break down at all, but the regular burger of ground beef from actual cow, it broke down properly within I think 6 or 7 days. So imagine what it's doing to your body in your body. Imagine what it does to you. Because the food's supposed to give you nourishment, it's supposed to break down and give you all the minerals you require. But if it's not doing that, then what is it doing for you? It's making you tired. It's making you bloated. It's making you feel sick. It's making you feel fatigued to the point where you don't want to be productive in your life. And imagine, we give it to our kids. We're all responsible for those choices, and we're all guilty of it. But think about it for a second. By the way, that's not soul food. I know that, but I'm just saying. We know for a fact it does not make us feel good. I know on Thanksgiving when I get my food, I go to sleep for 3 or 4 hours. That's not healthy.
This avalanche of diabetes and chronic disease has affected people of all races and has been fueled in part by the corruption and homogenization of American eating habits by these giant fast and snack food corporations. We have seen what I call the proliferation of junk foods in strange places that put unhealthy foods within easy reach of everyone, coupled with marketing campaigns that encourage people to continually overindulge on a whim. It used to be that you went to the gas station to get gas. You now go there to get pizza, donuts, all kinds of, they say I shouldn't say crap, but.
Spink's got that that donut, it got like strawberry on it. 160 calories. Now, granted, I know how much it takes. I have to work out in the gym to take care of that. It's like a day and a half, but I know it's a bad carb. So we know shit's bad. I guess the main thing I'm trying to do right now is let people to be informed of the choices they make, because we do choose things that are not right for us. But what are you gonna do about it? Will you pay it back? Will you do what's right for yourself to make you feel better If the doctor tells you that you need to leave these things alone, how much people in this world are actually able to make that choice and not do it? And you'll be surprised. A couple of weeks ago, I watched a video called My 600-Pound Life. I've never watched that show before in my life. The crazy thing about that show is, like, the individual on the show was pretty big. And the doctor told her what she had to do. And the problem is like, the first 2 or 3 months, she would not follow it. She was cheating. She was just doing all type of weird stuff to get around the system. Now, eventually, she did what she had to do. She had to lose like maybe 100-something pounds or 115 pounds in order to get the actual surgery. She did the surgery where it made her stomach smaller. I was like, okay, good for you. She did the work. But then the doctor said, okay, we're going to stay on this phase because I'm going to make your stomach smaller where it does not require as much food, but I want you to go to therapy. And the crazy thing about it is when the doctor said go to therapy, she was against it. And I'm like, hold up now. He's the doctor. He knows what's going on. And she went into therapy for the first session, and she said some crazy stuff that was clearly the reason why she had problems with her self-esteem and how she felt. And even though she was told, clearly this is your problem, she wanted a magic pill. And you know, she quit the show and the treatment because she felt like she knew better, even though she wasn't able to do better by herself. So at the end of the day, I'm more so showing this video just to give information, but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to make the decisions that make you feel better. You have to make the choices. You have to be willing to want better for yourself, regardless of it. You have to be responsible and accountable for the choices that you make that give you the results that you want. And if you're not willing to, and it requires a person in your ear constantly, then you cannot maintain those changes. So keep in mind, Plantation food is soul food, and we love soul food. Don't get me wrong, I love some soul food. Oh, nanas. I love soul food, but trust me when I tell you this, we have to make changes for our life because the only thing in this world we actually own is our bodies. We own that. That's ours by ourselves. We're not forced to put poison in our bodies. We're not forced. We can make better choices. So make a better choice and be informed and at least be aware of what you're doing. And if you do make a mistake and you fail time to time, you know, you drink too much, you smoke too much, you eat the wrong thing, pay it back. Owe your body what it deserves as far as feeling better. Go to the gym, work out, take a walk, take a run, whatever the case might be, pay it back and be accountable for your choices.